It is National Library Week, so I'm here to celebrate libraries and getting books from the libraries and reading for free and celebrating all the amazing stuff libraries all over the world, not just in the US, are doing for us. Hey everyone, Fina here from Fina Reads. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. This week, April 19 till 25th, 2026 is National Library Week, celebrated by the American Library Association. If you're interested in that, I'll leave a link down below so you can go check it out on their website. And I wanted to celebrate libraries because I am a heavy library user. I have been when I was a kid. I am again now for like a bit more than a year at this point. And I wanted to share my 10 favorite books that I've got from the library over the last year or so. Just to give you a number, the total of books that I've got from my library is about 47. Again, that is around late 2024 or early 2025. I don't remember exactly anymore when I got my library card, so I could use Libby as my library app. If you've been around on my channel, you know I love my Kindle Scribe. I love reading on it. I love annotating on books. And Libby is a great app in the US to get books from the library and copy them over onto your Kindle for the 30 or so days that you have the book available. And that's what I've been doing. A lot. I wanted to talk about 10 of my favorite books that I've gotten through the library, talk a little bit about the books. So grab a snack, grab a good drink, like a warm tea or something, and then let's talk about it. So the first book, and that actually really started everything, it's actually not just a book, it's a whole series, and that is the Eric Carter series by Stephen Blackmore. I got the first books from, I believe it was Hoopla at that point, from my local library, and then a colleague told me, hey, if you sign up for the LA County Library, I don't live in LA County, but it's a neighboring county, you get access to Libby, and with that to a much bigger pool of ebooks. So I did that, and then I continued reading the Stephen Blackmore series, or the Eric Carter series, through Libby, and I love this series. So this is about a snarky necromancer who lives in Los Angeles. Well, he actually starts out living in Las Vegas and then comes back to Los Angeles because his sister got murdered and he wants revenge. And it's a 9-book series, completely finished, urban fantasy, if I haven't said that already. And it's kind of the journey of him, who is a morally gray character, and how he turns his life around. If you're interested in this series, I have a dedicated review for it, so go check that out. The next book is The Other Valley by Scott Alexander Howard, which is a literary dystopian sci-fi. No, it's actually not really dystopian. It's just a literary sci-fi. And I didn't know that going into it. For this one, I got the audiobook, and I am not a fan of literary. I generally don't read literary, except for this one, obviously. Well, and a couple of others that I will talk more about in my April wrap-up. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, so you can hear me talk about that and what I think about other literary sci-fi books. But back to this one. The Other Valley is about a city that is sitting in a valley, and if you go to the right, you go backwards, and to the left, you go forwards. I don't know which direction goes where, but the premise is that you can travel through time. So if you go to the valley to your right, you travel 10 years into the future. If you go to the valley to your left, you travel 10 years into the past. Or other way around. Again, I don't remember exactly anymore. And there's a whole concept around that. Like, there's a government organization that you have to ask for permission if you want to travel in one or the other direction. And an example for that would be parents who lost their child. They can travel into the past to see their child one more time. You can't be seen, because then obviously people would know what might happen in the future, or, you know, might be remembered of things that happened in the past, whatever. And we're following a main character, a young woman who the mother tries to push her into working for that government agency. I just enjoyed the story a lot, and I enjoyed the writing a lot. Next up was a buddy read, my first buddy read with Tori Tekken from Tori Talks. That was Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, and it was also my first Jane Austen book that I read completely. Northanger Abbey is about a young woman that is being introduced into society in Bath, and it's about, I believe, around the summer. Again, all these books have been a while ago, like about a year ago. I think it plays within one summer, and she is being sent to Bath to friends of the family or distant relatives to be introduced into society. She is a big reader. She loves to live in the world of her books, and it's kind of an awakening of her getting into reality. It's kind of fun because she's a little bit of a naive girl, but she has a really cool sense of humor. I really enjoyed that. And I had a couple of moments where I was like, yeah, I understand. I mean, we're all readers, so I understand where you're coming from. So it was a really wholesome, cute story. And that story I absolutely loved. Actually, I'm absolutely wrong. It was not my first Jane Austen. I read Pride and Prejudice before. I'm absolutely lying. Ignore what I said earlier. It's my second Jane Austen. And this one made me fall in love with Jane Austen. So Pride and Prejudice was okay. I liked it okay. I wasn't super wowed by it. It actually took me a little bit to get into kind of the way stories were told back then. But with Northanger Abbey, it was a lot easier to get into the story. I love the characters a lot more. Maybe because I can relate to them better. I don't know. Going from Jane Austen to Fourth Wing, I guess, is a thing. Rebecca Yarros's book, I got all three of them from the library because it's a huge hype, and I wanted to know what that hype is all about. I wanted to see, okay, what is it with the dragon riders and the school and all that stuff? It sounds really cool, but I knew it was classified as romantasy, and I didn't really know if I vibe with romantasy. It turns out I do quite a bit, actually, especially because I read Akuta also years ago, and I didn't vibe with it at all. I thought it was really, really silly. And yeah, I loved Fourth Wing. I devoured book 1 and 2 within a really, really short amount of time. And I read them pretty much back to back. And then I waited for book 3 and ate that up too when it came out. And I read them all through my library. Just in case you don't know what the Fourth Wing series is about, the series is actually called something else. And I always keep forgetting what it is called. Empyrean something? I'm not sure. It's about a young woman who signs up for school. Like the school system is you can be a dragon rider, you can be a scribe, or there was something else. Like there are like 3 or 4 different jobs essentially that you can sign up for. And if you sign up to become a dragon rider, you have to pass a pretty harsh test where some people even die during the test. And then even the school afterwards is really harsh to you. Like while you find your dragon and all the tasks that you do are really, really hard. And she has a hard time because she is not the strongest, not the fastest, and she actually wanted to be a scribe, rather. She wanted to write stories and all that fun stuff, but I believe her mother pushed her into becoming a dragon rider because it's like family tradition or something like that. And yeah, story ensues. Yes, of course, there's some pining romance in there as well. I didn't mind it too much. I didn't like it too much either, but I didn't mind it either. But I really loved the stories. I really, really love the dragons. And yeah, again, library, perfect. Another series, rather another author mention, let's put it that way, is pretty much all of the books from John Marrs. So Stacy from the Chapter Conundrum and I did a whole John Marrs buddy read all last year and then January and February this year. So I read all 12 of his books. There's a video on my channel if you want to go check it out on how I rank all 12 of his books. And a lot of them came from the library because why should I pay for the ebook if I, can get them for free? And most of them I got pretty much immediately. I ended up buying most of them afterwards because it turns out I really like John Marrs. So I was comfortable buying them. But that is one thing that I really, really like about the library itself. I can test books without having invested anything, right? Without having spent multiple dollars to see if I like the book or not. I can just see if I like it. And then if I like it, I can still buy the book and then own it myself. And that's exactly what I did with both the thrillers and the sci-fi books from John Marrs. There are too many to talk in detail about what they are all about. Again, if you're interested in that, take a look at the video, this one, to check out where I briefly describe all 12 of the books and how much I like them. Like I rank them basically. And then you can see if 1 or 2 or all of them might be something you want to check out as well. The next book is The Outcast Mage by Annabel Campbell, which was back then when I got it, was also a new release. And again, I wasn't sure if I'm going to like it. The reason why I was curious about this one is because it had a blurb from Trudy Canavan on the cover. Usually I couldn't care less about these blurbs because I find them useless. It's one sentence that doesn't tell me anything about the book. And just because there's a big name underneath it doesn't mean that person actually read it or knows anything about this book. So quick rant aside, Trudy Canavan is a favorite author of mine. Like, I don't know, 10, 15 years back, I read nearly all of her books. There's just one series, like The Millennium Rule, that I haven't read by her, but I love her. So I got me curious. I was like, okay, Trudy Canavan. So I gave it a try. And while I'm happy that I read it because I actually really liked the book, I'm also not happy that I read it because now I'm sitting here waiting for book 2 and 3 and have no idea when they're coming out. Although I think book 2 is later this year. But I don't know when this trilogy is going to be finished, so I have to reread book 1 again to remind myself about all the details that happen so I can read book 2, and then I have to wait for book 3 and do it all over again. I hate doing that. Anyway, again, another rant over. The Outcast Mage is about a magical school where our main character is an outcast. She's supposed to have magical abilities, but somehow they are not showing up. And it's right before a big test where everybody has to prove their worth, essentially prove their magical abilities. And she's really scared about that. You get a lot of really cool tropes like friends in high places, quirky mentor, like a rebellion. It's all really good fantasy tropes packed into a really cool story. Very fast read too. I know I flew through that book as well and then got myself a copy too because I really, really liked it. Well, again, now I just have to wait for book 2 and 3, and I don't even know if it's a trilogy or a longer series. We will see. Book number 7. That is an interesting one. That completely doesn't fit into the row of these books. Like, which one doesn't fit in with the others? Definitely book number 7 is The Charlie Method by Al Kennedy, which is a sports romance, college, why choose? It's a, oh my goodness. Okay, let me get this in the right order. It's a why choose college sports romance novel. With a 5 out of 5 spice level. And that might have been my first 5 out of 5 spicy novel. So this one I found in Barnes & Nobles. It was on the new release table. It's actually also quite a chunker. And I was like, ooh, the description sounds good. I should get it. And then I remembered, hang on, I have a library. Let me check if they have it. And they had the audiobook ready. So I listened to it. Oh boy. So first of all, the audiobook, one of the guys, is narrated by Teddy Hamilton, which if you've ever read romance and if you've ever listened to Teddy Hamilton's voice, you know that he is the best narrator for romances ever. He's incredible. But there's a second guy that might even be better than Teddy Hamilton, and that is Sean Masters. And they are both narrating the voice in this White Shoes romance. And boy, are these voices good. So that audiobook was also devoured within a day or two. I don't know. It was really, really quick. And then I felt compelled to read some scenes again afterwards on the ebook version. It's really good. It is really spicy. And definitely don't listen to it without headphones. Fair warning, your choice what you do afterwards. Book number 8 is Keeper 6 by Kate Elliott. This is one of her novellas. It's about a mother whose son got lost. So she travels with her coven through the in-between world. It has a name. I'm blanking on what the name exactly is, to find the son. And she has to do some trades and finding some other things, get information, and then, find her son that way. This was interesting because I've read Kate Elliott before. I read the first book in her long series, Crown of Stars, I believe it's called. And I liked it okay. I was not a super fan, I have to say. So I thought I want to give Kate Elliott another try, and I picked Keeper 6 to do that. I thought it's a quick one, so I can quickly decide, okay, is she a good author for me? And then shortly after, I got into Witch Roads and that whole duology and did an interview with her, all that fun stuff. Anyway, Keeper 6 I thought was incredible, especially given that it was such a short story. There was a lot about motherly love and that anxiety that comes with being a mother and finding her son. I don't have any experience with that. I don't have children, but this book gave me a real good glimpse into that. And I thought it was really, really well done. I loved the in-between world. It was so interesting to see them travel through that and experience some of the things that happen in that in-between world. And there are dragons in there. So it's all around, it's a really, really cool story. That I really, really enjoyed. All right, 2 more to talk about. Number 9 is pretty much any book from the Backlist Book Club that Nico and I are hosting. I get them from the library first because there are a lot of questionable books that we picked. I don't mean it as negative as I'm saying that, but just books I've never heard of, books where I don't know if I'm going to like them. And some of those books, like the one that I want to talk about, are really hard to get also in a paperback or hardback copy, and even in an ebook form. So in particular, I want to talk about Shards of Honor by Lois McMaster Bujold. That's a whole 16-book, 17-book series called the Vorkosigan Saga. It's pretty much hard sci-fi. It has military aspects in it, but it's also really fun. The first 2 books, so Shards of Honor and I'm putting here what the second book is called. I'm blanking on the name right right now are about the mother of Miles Vorkosigan, who is the main character of the rest of the series. So all the other 14, 15 books are about Miles Vorkosigan, but the first two are about Cornelia, who is his mother, and they are fantastic. Like, she is such a scientist, really, and like just the way she behaves and talks and interacts with the people is so much fun to follow. Shards of Honor has a little bit of a romance story in it as well, but not really prevalent. It's just, it is part of the story. Really cool space scenes, really cool military scenes, but not overly heavy on the military sci-fi, so not super boring with like military lingo where you're like, oh god, this is all too much for me. It is fun, quirky, snarky. It has really cool characters, and especially in the later books. So I'm currently still at book 3. I need to continue really with that series. There are some really interesting side characters that you go really deep with that have an impressive character arc as well, where I had moments where, you know, I was just blown away and had to just pause the reading. And anyway, Vorkosigan Saga is amazing. So the next and last book I want to talk about that I really enjoyed, which I got from my library, is Breeze Belts and Bridegrooms by Sarah Wallace and S.O. Callahan. This is an indie published romance series, really, fantasy romance series. Currently 4 books, if I'm not entirely mistaken, and I got myself the audiobook version of that. So first off, again, fantastic audiobook narrator. They did a amazing job narrating the story and really putting the heart into the words, and it was so much fun to listen to it and experience the world through the narrator. But then the story itself was also a lot of fun. So this is a male-male romance. We live in a real world 1800s type, but with magic. So we have humans with magical abilities, but we also have fae with magical abilities, and we are following a human and a fae that have to work together. They're kind of forced together. They don't like each other very much at the beginning. They're forced together and they have to solve an issue related to the magic that is happening in the world. And it's so cute, so adorable. The characters are fantastic. The conversations are super interesting. Even the plot, like, it's not just the romance, it's the whole plot. It's the way the world functions, the way the magic system is woven into that, the way the magic system is explained through the issue that they're facing, and how they're showing off the magical abilities, like how that is happening on the page is so interesting. Such a fun story. I read book 2 in the series as well, liked it as much, although book 1 has my heart. Those are out of the 47 books that I've got from my library over the last year. Those are my 10 favorite books that I've read. Now I want to know from you, what are some of the favorite books that you got from your library? Are you using your library? Do you prefer getting physical books from the library, or are you using Libby or other services to get ebooks from your library and read them that way, or audiobooks, digital versions of the books to read them that way? Let me know down in the comments. And then if you like content like this, I hope you also decide subscribing, because I talk about stuff like libraries and ebooks and fun of reading and fantasy sci-fi reviews, sometimes romance as well, and thrillers, and really everything. I talk about that stuff all the time. So feel free to subscribe, and I hope I'll see you again on my channel. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I see you soon. Bye.